This might be obvious for you, but I think there's other people who might not know exactly why their footage looks as shaky and unstable as it does. And it's just basically because of the size of the camera. The camera's too small. You don't have enough weight on your shoulder, especially, I'm talking specifically about handheld stuff, okay? So not on a tripod, not on sticks, not on a glide cam or steady cam or gimbal. When you're going handheld, which is a perfectly fine way to shoot things, you need a heavier, bigger camera, and it's mostly because of inertia and the weight of something, right? If, like my iPhone, right? Taking iPhone video is really, really shaky because any small movement I do moves the iPhone, right? My GH4, if I film with that, it's a little bit heavier, but still very, very light. So any small adjustments or movements or the wind blowing can move the whole camera. Or if you have something bigger, like an FS7 or an Alexa or something like that, it's on your shoulder, those small adjustments, they need more power to them, right, to get the camera to move. So that small little, just the movements that people make with their fingers and their hands and their body, like you can't stay perfectly still. It's very difficult. But those small movements don't have as much impact on the heavier camera. So what you can do is if you're shooting with an iPhone or you're using something small like a GH4, you can put it on a shoulder rig. And I'd say you almost have to. I'm certainly guilty of shooting handheld just with the camera, and I'll usually turn on stabilization to compensate for all that, but it's never as good as if you put it on a proper shoulder rig that's got some weight to it, that's gonna take that intentional movement to actually get it to move a certain way. You look at stuff like Breaking Bad, for example. Breaking Bad had a lot of handheld shots, and it was really cool because most of the time it was normal, boring. I didn't think they were boring, but some people thought they were boring. Boring scenes of people talking, right? Really intense conversation, but they're just sitting talking. You'd see other shows, they do that maybe on sticks or on like a slider or something, but a lot of stuff they did on Breaking Bad was handheld. And it gave it a cool style, it gave it a cool aesthetic, but you'll see that like it doesn't look like someone shooting with a DSLR. I mean, someone shooting with a DSLR has a very specific look. I'm talking about if they're shooting handheld with a DSLR. Has a very specific look and a kind of jerky, clumsy, and yes, you can be better at it. There's certain hand positions you can do to be better at it, but it's still like never as good as a shoulder rig. So I see people all the time, they'll say like, oh, I love my camera because it's so small and compact and I can shoot anywhere with it. Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. But I would really recommend against it for that reason, especially if you're going handheld. If you throw it on sticks, that's fine. If you want to put it on a gimbal, totally separate deal. But if you're shooting handheld, definitely have some kind of support system. There's really cheap ones you can find on Amazon. There's expensive ones you can buy from some of the more professional elite companies. Whatever you do, the best thing you can do is make it a little bit bigger so that you've got more like counterbalance front to back, and make it a little bit heavier, which is, it's strenuous. I guess it's like you got to build up some muscle strength to make sure that you can do it. And it is harder. You put 40 pounds on your shoulder. That's not fun, but it makes the footage look better because, again, you're not getting those small micro adjustments. So just something to keep in mind whenever you're out there shooting and you want to do something handheld. Definitely recommend something a little bit bigger. I mean, like when you look at the news camera people or documentary style camera people, like it's a big camera on the shoulder, like the old 80s VHS cameras. Like there's a reason that works so well. And there's a reason DSLR footage looks the way it does sometimes when it's handheld, because they're not using proper support.